All right, this is the fourth lecture under Chapter 19. We're still really under 19.3c, under money damages. We're going to talk about direct versus consequential damages. So direct damages are the damages that directly flow from the breach. So let's go back to a simple example. Let's say that you have a deal to buy a hat for $20. However, you know you can sell that hat because it's in demand right now for $30. So what's your profit from this? $10. If they breach, that is the seller breaches, doesn't sell you the hat, what are you out? You're out $10. So it's your direct damage because you can prove absolutely you would have made $10 on this transaction. That's your direct damages. Consequential damages are a little more attenuated, a little further away. As a consequence, because of this, I suffered other damages. So, let's suppose you go to get a haircut or you get your hair styled, whatever you do. Obviously, it's not the place I go to. And you've got an interview coming up tomorrow. This is your dream job. Let's say it's with one of the big four. Is that how many accounting firms we have now? I lose track. There were 8 when I went to school, so yes, back when dinosaurs ruled the earth. Anyway, so let's say that you got the dream job coming up, interview. And you go get a haircut. And instead of it being like you want it to be, your barber, your stylist says, let's do something creative so you look great. Said yes. And you walk out of there and you've got spikes sticking out of your hair that are different colored and you look ridiculous. As a result, you go to the interview, you don't have confidence in yourself anymore, you do not do well in the interview, you don't get the job. You become depressed, you've given up hope. We find you a year from now in the alley, by the gutter, with something in a brown bag, and your life is miserable and it's over. All because of that haircut. So can you go back and sue the barber or stylist for all your damages? Your whole life is ruined now. You would have been making so much money working for the big four as a CPA, but now you're just a bum? No. Your direct damages are you wasted money on this haircut, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks, 100 bucks, whatever you spend. But the consequential damages you don't get. Why? Why? Because of an old case in England called Hadley versus Baxendale. In Hadley versus Baxendale, there was a mill. And we've talked about mills before. There was a mill that operated, and its main shaft, that's when it goes right up the middle, to which everything else is applied to, cracked, and they couldn't operate the mill. So they needed a new main shaft. To do it, they had to send it to the engineering company in Greenwich, as in Greenwich, England, where you know your geography, hopefully. And you need to get it there fast because you want to get it back. And they need to use this as a sample in order to build the new shaft. So you go down to the carriage company, the transit company, and you say, hey, we've got to ship this over to Greenwich. How soon can you do it? How much will it cost? They say, if you bring it by noon, it'll be there the next day. Great. How much is it? £2, 4 shillings. All right. So you bring the shaft down by the next morning, pay the £2, 4 shillings, and because of the transit company's neglect, they screwed up, they breached the contract, it doesn't get there till 3 days later. As a result, your mill is down for a longer period of time until you finally get the shaft back. So the mill sues the carrier company saying you caused us damages. And they were awarded the £2, 4 shillings that they paid. They didn't get what they asked for, what they bargained for. They also wanted their lost profits. The profits they would have made for all the days they would have been up and running but for the shipping company's negligence. Were they awarded it? The answer is no. They didn't get it because that type of a loss was not within the contemplation of the parties and not foreseeable by the transit company. Why does that matter? It matters because of this. If you're the transit company and you've told somebody that you will get it there, all right, in time. Do you understand what risk you're taking on when you agree to do this for £4, 3 shillings, and you are warranting to them that this will happen and that you'll be responsible for the damages? The first question is how much are we talking here? How much damages are we talking? And certainly when doing a transaction for £2, 4 shillings, you're not thinking of £25 a day for every day that you're late. That's way beyond the scope of this contract. If you knew that that was the case, you would certainly charge more. So, just back it up for another minute. Let's suppose that you have your own package delivery company, the Macomb Express, all right? And somebody comes to you and says, this package absolutely positively has to be in New York on Wall Street by Friday before noon. It's the triple witching hour. If you don't know what that is, don't worry about it. It's important to get something there before then. So you say to them, how much is this? They say, oh, it's $15. And we absolutely positively will get it there by Friday at noon. Okay, because it's really important. And you've got some papers in there in which you're exercising an option on some stock. We've talked about options before. So they take it, and they don't deliver it by noon on Friday. As a result, your loss on this is $4 million. Did the delivery company breach? They did. They said they have it there. They didn't. That's part of the contract. They're responsible for the $4 million loss. Again, no. They're not, because that's not something they were aware of. Because think about it. If you were Macomb Express and somebody came in for a $15 transaction, you're going to take on $4 million of liability. You go, whoa, no, I'm not doing that. It's going to cost way more than $15 if I can do that. Because what you're trying to do is get insurance on it, which is a way to shift the risk. Because they're trying to shift the shipper is trying to put the risk on you, the transit company, and you're trying to get rid of that risk as well. Because if I can take on this risk, that's a lot of money. So you may get insurance. Insurance might cost, I don't know, $500,000. I'm making it up. So you're going to charge $500,000 plus the charges and whatever. Or if you can't get insurance, you're going to do it yourself. Well, you're going to charge a lot more because you're going to now send it by air. You're going to have maybe a backup plane in case something's that plane to pick it up. You're going to send Hummers on the ground to follow it in case it crashes. Get that thing and get it to New York no matter what. We'll worry about it later. And that could cost $800,000 to $900,000. It's a ridiculous scenario, right? Of course it is. But the point is if the Macomb Express is going to be responsible for that, they need to know that in advance so they can properly price. They need to know what risks they're taking on. And that's what they mean by within the contemplation parties. That's understood that these are what the consequences would be. And if they don't understand that, and it's not foreseeable to them, foresee it, that this could be the case, then it's not part of the contract and you don't get the consequential damages.